July 25th, 7 p.m., AMC Theater. That was my destination, players, after infamously reaching level 27 earlier in this week, running over a nail and having to get my tire replaced for a small loan of about $1 million, and following a strict dehydration regimen as to not have to be a D1 urinator while watching the movie made by my childhood dreams, Deadpool and Wolverine. I got my ass to the theater after a long day of work and shitting blood trying to finish that The Boys Season 4 video. Seriously, watch it or I'm sending you to Azkaban. But I got my large popcorn. I substituted the cherry icy for a cherry coke on account of the icy inducing brain Ebola in my head. I got to my seat and lo and behold, y'all would never guess who I was sitting in between. I mean, I knew I was gonna see a lot of famous faces, but I had no idea I'd be sitting next to the Majin Buu and Tyrone Bigham. I was like, Boo, what's good, gangy? I haven't seen you since GT, playa. Mr. Chappelle, big fan. It's nice to meet you, but you know, he was a little preoccupied when he wasn't in locked in mode for half of the movie. Like how normal people watch movies, right? Instead of just sitting the fuck back and chilling. He was busy laughing at all the jokes that were already in the trailer and then responding to Snapchat messages, of which I'm sure were very important, you know? That's why he kept his phone on his lap, screen side up, so that he would know when they would come in on account of the bright ass fucking light that would flash constantly. I can rest assured that I wouldn't have gotten sick even if I hadn't doubled up on my zinc that night with the combined raspy coughs they shared between themselves throughout the movie. I don't mean to waffle, players, and I wish these gentlemen well, but trust me, having an Edgar cut and elbows on tits on your peripherals for 2 hours, well, it's enough to make you go mad. But what kept me going through this sordid affair was what I came there for in the first place. That is Deadpool and Wolverine, my childhood dreams realized. And I have to say, well, first and foremost, spoiler warning, obviously I can't control myself, but I haven't felt that satisfied from an MCU movie in a long time. And that's because the last MCU movie I saw was Guardians 3. Now, that's not to say that Guardians was bad, because that would be a lie. It was completely awesome and I love it to this day, and it is better than Deadpool and Wolverine, just to clarify. I would not say that Deadpool and Wolverine is the new best MCU movie ever or since Endgame now, or even be super hyperbolic and say it's the best comic book movie ever or one of them. But what Deadpool and Wolverine was truly astounding with what they were able to do. Like, first off, with Guardians, just to make an example, at the end we get a sense that even though the gang is going their separate ways, the movie is over, the chapter is closed. The story of the Guardians, however, is still being shown to have more juice in the tank, and we got the tease of Star-Lord returning, so it felt a little less final in that way, whereas Deadpool and Wolverine did not tease, at least with a mid or post-credit scene, that they will come back, and we kind of already know that Deadpool and Wolverine will be back for Secret Wars or anything like that, which was actually really nice to see, because legit, you really don't have to do that anymore. These characters can just show up in other movies without you teasing it, and we'd all accept it, okay? That way we can just sit with the movie and not have our attention or energy diverted to some distant thing in the future all the time. That was a really nice feeling. But besides that, the movie itself was absolute pure fun and joy, which saves a lot of which was, I felt, a thin plot. So essentially what that is that Deadpool gets swooped up by the TVA because he's been chosen to join the main 616, but he finds out that because his world lost their anchor being, or like their nexus being, which was Logan, it cannot survive. So he set out to find a Logan to bring to his universe, but upon return he finds out that Mr. Paradox has formed a rogue cell of the TVA, and because he doesn't want to wait on universes to fizzle out anymore, he created a time ripper which accelerates the death of a timeline, and then he plans on taking over the TVA and then prunes both Deadpool and Wolverine. So they have to escape the void within 72 hours and return to their universe to stop this. Their ticket out of the void being the insane and sadistic Cassandra Nova, played by Emma Corrin. Now, Emma Corrin went absolutely off with this role. Cassandra Nova is a complete menace and genuinely terrifying, like she is in the comics. Apparently, she had a deal with Paradox so that she would stay in the void and kill whoever he needed to be killed, but since he tried to murder her, she comes through and face fucks him to get to the Time Ripper, which was such an insanely cool effect. So they need to bombard her and her headquarters to return and save the day. Their motivation being, of course, not wanting a universe to die, but with Deadpool, he wants to do more with his power and actually matter. And Wolverine is trying to redeem himself after he never fully accepted his role as an X-Man, and because of how he walked away and started killing, he put a target on their backs and got them all killed by the humans. The reason he wears the suit is to remind himself of them and what he did, and there's a point where Cassandra is about to die, but he saves her because he knows that Charles, her twin brother, would not let him let her die, because that's that's just not what the X-Men do. So he tells her that Charles would have done everything to find her if he knew she existed. So the suit itself isn't just eye candy. It's not just, yeah, Hugh is finally in the blue and yellow. It means fully embracing his role as an X-Man and as a superhero. You know, Deadpool makes an aside about it, but it's so true. He's finally wearing his costume like he's not ashamed to be in a superhero movie anymore. And that was a huge thing back in the day of like toning things down visually so that people would take comic book movies more serious. But I think the MCU actually proved you can embrace the comics and still tell serious and weighted stories. No need to leave extra sauce on the table anymore. Just let these characters be all that they are without being ashamed of it, which was really beautiful. My only small complaint is I really wish we would have seen it go down. I would have loved to have seen the OGs make a return in the comic accurate suits, similar to the Old Man Logan storyline, but maybe this $2 billion movie will make it happen eventually. So ultimately seeing him go from supposed worst Wolverine in the whole multiverse to embracing that X-Men identity and then sacrificing himself in tandem with Deadpool to stop Cassandra Nova from destroying all realities was quite awesome. So he not only had a solid emotional motivation, but his arc was great. Deadpool, however, I felt had a good motivation, but a shitty arc. In my opinion, the whole Vanessa breaking up with him and seeing some other guy thing was weird. You know, I can't be sure, but I have a hunch on who contributed that little golden nugget. Like, I get how they tried to ground it in like, hey, you almost got me killed, and her feeling unsafe, feeling like he's not living up to his potential, but I feel like she knew what she was getting into since she was captured in Deadpool 1. If I can recall, she wanted him to be more, which is why he was trying to become an Avenger in the first place. It's understandable, but like, it felt weak in my opinion. I just thought it was lame to say he did it for her. Like, if he just added, I did it for them, but I also did it for you too, that would have felt better in my opinion. It just feels off and kind of unearned. But other than that, let's talk about those cameos. So first off, I could watch a Deadpool and Happy Hogan Christmas special, and I'm not ashamed of that. I was absolutely hysterical, the back and forth between them two. We got the comic accurate short King Wolverine, which was great, Age of Apocalypse, Patch, a true Old Man Logan, and an extremely vivid shot of the iconic X-Men 251. We got Hugh in the tan and yellow with the Hulk 340 reference. God damn, I love how they were like, this might be the last chance we get. Let's get all the looks on Hugh that we can. And who can forget Henry Cavill's Wolverine cameo? That was just awesome. I'm glad Henry Cavill got to do something fun in a comic book movie, especially as Wolverine. Yes, Chris Evans is in the movie and he gave a perfect fake out with the blue and red on his suit. I thought this was about to be Nomad, but when he started cursing, I was like, what is that? Then when he said Flame On, I was totally caught off guard. Then we get Elektra, Wesley Snipes Blade, and Channing Tatum as Remy LaBeau Gambit. I don't really count Daphne Keene's X-23 as a cameo because she was revealed before the premiere. Although she didn't have the most time, it was great to see her again. She was a huge emotional fulcrum for Wolverine and the movie. Even though she didn't have an insane suit, it was so nice to see her in her glasses and then calling the Juggernaut a pendejo. I'm a big proponent of having a Logan in the MCU before a Laura, which I'm hoping we still do get a proper Logan and not Hugh Jackman actually doing this till he's 90. I love Hugh and I'm glad he's getting to play in the sandbox now, but I am not of the belief he's the only one that can play this character. That being said, I truly would not be opposed to Daphne Keene taking up the mantle of MC Wolverine now. Wasn't too big a fan of Elektra growing up, but I love me some Jennifer Garner. I was way surprised to see Wesley Snipes after hearing he hated Ryan, so I actually think it's awesome they made amends. He was funny as hell too, and although Channing's face looks super mashed in that cowl, I think it was great, and it was great to see him realize that character finally after the movie went nowhere back in 2017. I think that's also just a theme of the movie, like realizing your potential. So with that and Gambit becoming even more popular because of X-Men 97, it was great to see him again. Plus, he was so damn funny throughout. Again, the humor in this movie, which I get, humor is subjective, right? But it's a Deadpool movie. If you're still complaining about the humor, you had 2 prior movies to know what you were getting into, so take the yapping elsewhere. But I thought this movie was probably the funniest one of them all. Every reference was absolutely on point. The way they weaved them into the dialogue felt so smooth and poignant. The fourth wall breaks were great as well. Like, nothing was off limits, whether it's Hugh's divorce, the MCU low point, or the Blade movie. It was just all super on point. The action was very exciting too. We got Wolverine running on all fours like the true Sigma that he is. From the Deadpool versus TVA InSync intro to the Honda Odyssey fight, we got the brutal action that's a given for these movies. Cassandra Nova was an absolute beast with her telekinesis. The whole Deadpool and Wolverine versus all the other Deadpool variants fight was a complete show. It wasn't even that any of the action was revolutionary per se, but it was just fun as hell. Like, you can tell they were having fun with this whole bit, and it elevates the whole sequence. The CGI mask was a little weird at first, but I got used to it pretty quick and it looked great in motion. I'm all for more animated white eyes, to be clear. Every interaction with Nice Pool was hilarious. Overall, I think the plot is a bit weak. Most of the motivations feel half-baked except Logan's. I think the movie relies a lot on the legacy Marvel films to do the emotional legwork for these other characters, like other than X-23, who actually got to end the movie being with her dad. So it's like, what even happened with Blade or Elektra or Remy for that matter, as well as just some heavy exposition issues, even for a Deadpool movie. But despite that, I cannot help but be wholly satisfied, entertained, and enthralled throughout the film. It's insane that a movie can have those types of issues, but completely be absolved for being just so damn charming and funny and just plain entertaining. So that is why I am giving Deadpool and Wolverine a fluctuating 7.5 to 8 out of 10. I'm trying to do away with my recency bias, and I think that's pretty fair. You know, it's not the best Deadpool movie for sure, but it's one I will have on repeat for years because it is just that damn enjoyable, and I love the reverence they showed for the Fox universe. I might not have always loved everything about it, but it was the foundation. I cannot wait to see what happens with Deadpool and Wolverine next, and trust me, there's a lot to talk about that we will get into soon, players. But let me know what y'all think if you saw Deadpool and Wolverine already, and let me know any predictions you have for these characters in the future. I'm all ears. But that's it. If you liked the video, leave me a thumbs up, comment down below, and if you want, subscribe. I always appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope all of you guys are well, and I will see you in the next one.